Here's what I know. You have been sitting on a gold mine for years. You've been in the grind and it just feels like work. It doesn't feel like you have anything new to really offer the world when in actuality, in a new industry, you actually do once you put it all together. Hey, I'm Nika Smith and welcome back to the Great Big Life TV, where we talk about all things midlife transition and career reinvention. If you caught my last video, How to Change Careers Without Starting Over, you understand that I come from the standpoint of not burning everything down to start over, but how to do what you already know how to do as far as skills, experience, accomplishments, and transitioning them or reinventing them in a new industry, maybe in a different career, or maybe in a side hustle or a business venture, right? So we're not burning it down. We are starting from experience. And in today's episode, we're going to talk about how to use your existing skills to transition into your new career. And how I plan on doing that? Well, I'm going to walk you through the steps. So step one is to identify the skills that you already have, to match those skills to an existing industry or other industries. 3, translate your experience into language that makes sense for your next career. And then lastly, and most importantly, build the confidence you need to own your story. Because here's what I know. You have been sitting on a gold mine for years. You've been in the grind and it just feels like work. It doesn't feel like you have anything new to really offer the world when in actuality, in a new industry, you actually do once you put it all together. And once you kind of tease out these parts that you haven't been able to put together. And we're going to do that today. So let's get ready. Let's get started. Let's go. So the first thing I want you to do is to spot your transferable skills. These are the skills that can go anywhere, anytime, any moment. What are those skills? So we're talking about your leadership and management skills. Doesn't matter the industry, they travel well. Your communication skills, your presentation skills, your problem solving and conflict resolution skills, your ability to manage change, right? That change management skill set. Strategic thinking and decision making travels anywhere, can go in any industry, right? So what are they? And another skill too is those project management and organization skills. That's a big industry right now, project management. So what are yours? What are your transferable skills? What takes you from point A to point B can take you from any industry. Doesn't matter if it's corporate, nonprofit, academia, entrepreneurship, wherever, right? What are those skills? And this is where I want you to pause the video, right? I want you to write down everything you do in your current role that is transferable. Also, anything you've done informally, whether it's volunteerism, at your local church or association, or just working with a friend. What have you done? Any side hustle skills you have that are transferable? Write all of that down, right? So pause this video, take 5 minutes, write those down. When I think about my own transferable skills as a recruiter, it may just seem like I'm interviewing people and filling roles, but there's so much more that goes into that. I manage pipelines, right? I do a lot of collaboration with hiring managers. I do quite a bit of consulting. I do a lot of communication. I do a lot of project management, right? So there's so many different transferable skills I have as a recruiter that I actually can really take anywhere else and use them. And I actually gained those skills from other roles I've had, not from recruiting, right? So the recruiting skills now add another layer of what I can do, but what's transferable will take me anywhere into any other type of role that I desire. All right, so now that we have been able to come up with a skills list, a transferable skills list, now I need you to match your skills to new opportunities, right? Because that is what we're here for. We're trying to figure out where else can I use my skills? Where else can I use my abilities and in another industry or organization? So the first thing I want you to ask yourself is, where could these skills be valuable? Where else besides this industry, this career, this job? If you're really good at coordinating events, you could run events at corporate organizations. You could lead operations at a nonprofit. You could start your own event planning business. If you're good at coaching, think about learning and development, life or business coaching or corporate training. If you're good at negotiating deals, think about sales, partnership, procurement, or even fundraising for a nonprofit. So here's a pro tip. Spend 20 minutes on LinkedIn searching job titles. Once you find a few that you're interested in, look at the requirements section and then compare those to the skills that you listed in your skills research on yourself. And then you'll see that there's so much overlap in some of these job titles you never thought about and what you actually bring to the table. So here's a question I like to ask my coaching clients. If someone erased your job title but listed everything you could do, what industries could you work in tomorrow? So ask yourself that question. If someone erased your job title and listed everything that you could do, what industries could you work in tomorrow? That will open up mounds of possibilities for you in just answering that question. All right, so the next thing we want to do when we're trying to figure out how to use our existing skills in a different industry is to translate your experience into the language of the new role or the new industry. This step is really key because this is where a lot of people lose momentum. They know they have the skills, they know they have the ability, they know information about the industry, but how they present themselves becomes the issue because they're using old language from this old career and trying to fit it into the bucket of this new industry. And it just doesn't translate very well. Trust me, as a recruiter, I see when people are clearly trying to switch careers or do something different and they apply for a role that may actually match, what we have, but it's not communicated well through the resume. And I can't really tell if they're trying to continue to be in finance or if they actually want to be in tech. I don't really know because the resume isn't saying that. But I've also seen resumes that tell me, oh, I see what this person is trying to do. I get it. I see that they're coming from this background and they want to move into a different industry. And I see them trying to make that effort. There's a difference. So the fix here is to translate your accomplishments into language that makes sense for the role you want, not just for the role you've had. So here's an example. The old way, you might say, I managed a team of 10. The new way is saying, I optimize team operations by streamlining, scheduling, and improving efficiency by 30%. Same thing. You're just using new language and you're making it more transferable than specific to one role. So this is what I want you to do. Again, another exercise is to take out your resume or to look at it, pull it up on your computer. And I want you to take just one bullet point for your resume right now, because I want you to rewrite a couple of things. One, I want you to focus on the skill that's used. So what is the skill in this bullet point? What is the action that is being taken? And then what is the result that you achieved? Now you might have bullets that don't have any of that. You may just have the skill, but you don't have anything about the result or the action taken. I have definitely noticed when reviewing resumes and revising them is that we do not talk about the result achieved, because we feel like, well, you may be in a role, especially when I'm working with like people in mental health, coaching, counseling, those kinds of things. They kind of don't really know what to say, right? And if you're in that field and you're watching this video, let me know, because I might create a video specifically for that niche because I know it pretty well, but I want to make this video a little bit more broader. But if you like are in mental health or in a field, like I want to know exactly how I can take what I do and list an achievement. I don't know if I improved something by 30%. I don't know if I, increased the compensation. Like, I don't know if I did any of that. Well, there are ways to figure that out. But when you do this for your 8 to 10 skills, you'll suddenly see your resume and yourself through a completely different light, right? So again, focus on that one bullet point, the skills that you used, the action that you took, and the results that you achieved, and let me know what happened. Put that in the chat because I feel like y'all got some good stuff going on. And the last thing I want to talk to you about is building your confidence story. And this is where, especially when I am talking to and coaching high achieving women in midlife, is that it is so much more about mindset than anything. And it's so crazy to me because these are women who are super accomplished. They've been in their fields for 17, 18, 19, 20 years, and they have done the damn thing. But if you look at their resume or their LinkedIn profile, you have no idea that they've done all of the things. Because there's something I've noticed about women, especially in this age bracket, that there's this fear of, I don't know, this generation that I definitely come from, this fear of standing out too much or being too much or bragging on yourself. But the reality is, you're telling the truth. You're not telling a lie. Like, you actually accomplished all of these things. You actually grew sales by 20%, 50%, whatever it is. You actually did that. So now you get to tell people. And so the mindset game is the biggest piece that I have had to work, with people. For example, I had a client recently and we were working on her resume, and she again had about 17 years of great experience in her field and was looking to transition into another field, into the healthcare field, which I thought, great, you can actually do that. But it's almost like I had to wrestle that resume out of her hands to help her see that, listen, this person on this piece of paper this resume you did in 1995 or whenever it was, it was a while ago. This is not the person you are now. And this resume doesn't show that. So what I realized is that you can have the perfect resume, but when you walk into that interview without that same level of confidence and doubting who it is that you are and what you can do, it shows. I will tell you, I've certainly interviewed some people who had some stellar resumes. I mean, they were like, oh, okay, I want to meet them, And then when they got into the interview, I did not know if this was the same person, right? Not because they couldn't translate their skills, at least talk about them, but they didn't seem very confident. And energy is a really big component of interviewing, because the interviewers can tell if your energy is low. And it's real important that you monitor your energy, because you can know all of the things and you might be a quote unquote perfect fit, but the energy that you bring, the confidence that you bring shows. And so I know some of you are saying, well, I don't want to put on a show in an interview. You're not putting on a show. You're being confident about what you can do. And often that's not coming across. What's on the resume is not really translating when we get in person, right? And so that's what often teams are looking for when they're interviewing. They're looking for confidence in that you can do the job that they want you to do. Not just can you do it, but are you going to be able to do it well? And can you translate that in an interview? And I think a lot of that comes from a lack of confidence. Well, this is why you need a confidence story. Right. So a confidence story is a 1 to 2 sentence explanation of your pivot that shows your experience as an asset, not a mismatch. For example, I've spent the last 15 years managing high-performing teams in healthcare. Now I'm excited to bring the same leadership, strategic thinking, and problem solving to the tech industry, especially in roles that help organizations scale and grow. Boom. That's it. No apologies, straight to the point. And that's what you want to be able to bring from the resume to the interview. So you already know I have an action plan for you for the week. So the first thing I want you to do is to make that transferable skills list. Get on top of that. Do not wait. Second, match those skills to 3 to 5 industries or roles that you've been looking at. Next, rewrite the experience in their language. Very important. And you can use ChatGPT, any of the AI platforms to help you do that. And then last but not least is to craft your confidence story, right? Those are the 4 things I want you to do to get you on your way to career reinvention. You're not starting over. You're starting from experience. You're getting ready for that next chapter, whatever it is. So if you really want help connecting those dots, we do that in my reinvention sessions. The link is in my bio. Sign up for a clarity call, and we will get started in making that pivot and the career reinvention that you want. And last but not least, I want you to drop a comment to let me know what skill that you are bringing into your next chapter, and let us know. Of course, if you have any questions, drop those there too. All right, that is my time today. As always, thank you so much, and I will see you next time. Bye.